All right, Clint from the doorway too, hanging out with Florian from, I think it's Calliophis. If I'm butchering it, you tell me, but that's what I think it is. Um, I appreciate your time very much doing this with me. Literally just got your new record, probably a bit. So very glad that you guys said yes and you could do this. Again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, no problem. So I kind of want to, I'm going to start from the beginning because it's the best way to do it. I have actually, over the last week or so, listened to all three records and kind of want to go over the as well too, because between the first record and this record, I think there's a lot of differences. So I'd love the listeners, watchers, whatever it is, to kind of understand my understanding of the band, and then you can give me a better understanding of it.
I try my best.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. So the first record's called Doomsday. Came back out way in 2008. So I know it feels like forever ago. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. Um, but this one, I'm gonna say, has more of kind of like a crusty kind of black metal and sludge vibe as well too. Maybe it's just the production. Uh, but it kind of reminds me more of bands like Corrupted and Newthgrush mixed with your style. But when you made this record, were you going for more of a raw kind of sound, or was it just what you had at that time?
It's quite interesting because at this time the band existed only for 1 year,
Okay.
and for us it's more a demo because each song sounds different. So
Yeah.
it's we didn't find any way for us where we wanted to go at this time. So there are more or some rock and roll influences. So black metal is quite interesting because I don't think there's any black metal, but it depends on your own feelings. Yeah, and at this time we started the band around 2006, 2007, and wrote the first songs quite quick, and then just started recording it, and everything from the recording, the artwork. Now the artwork did someone else, but all the recording stuff we did by ourselves. So we just recorded it at our rehearsal room back then at Eastern 2008, and yeah, and then we made some CDs, and that's all.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. So the reason why I say it kind of has a blackened sound is the guitar
Yeah,
tones are very kind of sure, and it kind of reminds me of when like doom metal bands add black metal elements, so kind of like the Newthgrushes and the Corrupteds there, where I hear like old school Norwegian black metal guitar tones, and it might just be the production, it might be something as simple as that, because it is a much rawer sounding release than,
yes,
of course,
it's really raw. At this time,
the last two.
we only were three guys. There's no bass guitar on this record. Only one guitar and drums and vocals. And yes, it's quite minimalistic for Doom, but it's still okay, I think.
Gotcha.
Even when
Cool.
we see the songs quite different nowadays, because we
Gotcha.
wouldn't compose any songs like that again, I think.
Gotcha. No, that's completely understandable. So I'm gonna record, which is I guess it's Core Sepetus is the way I'm gonna say it. And
Yes,
that came
correct.
out in 20. Yeah, I'm gonna say this one very much starts bringing in what I've heard on the new record.
Yeah.
It's got a mix of kind of that early Peaceville and avant-garde records kind of vibes, where it mixes kind of gothic elements, doom death, and thick atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's realized in the same way that the new record is. This record, where the new record is kind of a much stronger I kind of love the production, and I love that the slower tempos start there, and it's the first time you really kind of hear true clean kind of atmospheric guitar tones mixed with really dirty guitar tones. So if you could kind of talk about that period and that record and what's 5 years, 6 years later brought you to that point.
When we recorded Corsa Pentis, we had a new lineup at this time, and the lineup is still alive. And Matthias, our new guitar player back then, and now he's the main songwriter. So that's maybe the reason why the new record sounds much more than the record before. And yeah, and I think with Cosa Pentis we started to find our own way, our own goal where we wanted to go. And now with the new record, I think we are, yeah, straight up to the nearly to the point where we wanted to be. But we have every time when we write new songs, we have more new influences and try new things. So the next songs we are going to write now will be similar to the actual ones, but I think they can quite be different also.
Okay.
So we will see, but one point which is or one point which will never change is it's still Death Doom.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
So we never will change into a epic doom metal band, I think.
I couldn't see it that that cool. So let's get into Liquid Darkness, which is the newest record. I'm going to dig a little bit into this one because this is the one I've been listening to most. There is definitely a more rich tone. There's a lot of ethereal and gothic elements into it. And this might just be me hearing it because I'm a fan of this style, but you can tell me. But you guys have kind of coined the sound of finished death doom for me right now. And
Okay.
all right, and it's like bands like DeLorean, it's bands like Shape of Despair, Swallow the Sun. Like you guys have that tone. It's that very atmospheric and almost funeral doom, but it just hit that like it's almost there. And it's got those real big gothic kind of like swells and tones. So if you could kind of talk to me a little bit about the creation and how Liquid Darkness was made, because there was only four of you. It shows me as a listing on this record.
Yeah.
So uh, did that have anything to do with the way this was arranged, different than being a five-piece beforehand? So.
On this record, there are only four of us because last year in February we lost two guys, unfortunately. So our bass guitar player and our rhythm guitar player left the band last year, and we recorded the album as a four-piece band. That's the reason why only four guys are inside the booklet. But nearly all songs were written as a five-piece band.
Okay.
So yeah, the only reason why there are four of us because only four of us recorded it. And yes, for I think this time we wanted to put much more atmosphere into the songs.
Mhm.
And yeah, for me it's quite an honor to hear that you see some Shape of Despair influences or something like that, because I love Shape of Despair.
Cool.
And for me, yeah, for me it's not this way because I don't see any similarities. But it's great to hear that when other people who are listening to it see it, or like Swallow the Sun, because these are the big names into funeral and death doom business.
Yeah.
And when you hear it from someone, you have some influences, or you sound like these guys. It's really great. So yeah, the songs.
Was it different? Was it different to record this record though versus the other two?
Uh, I don't think so, because the recording or production was nearly the same. I recorded the drums in the studio, and everything else was recorded at home or at our rehearsal room
Okay.
by ourselves. So it's nearly close the same like in the past. But we put much more effort into sound, into yeah, arrangements, and looked for the perfect guy who is responsible for mixing and mastering. And yeah, I think the result speaks for itself. We are very, very happy with the result, from the sound to the layout. But the layout is also done by ourselves. Our guitar player makes all the graphics, the layout, and yeah, for me it's also very important to do as much as possible inside the band, because we know what we want to reach with the album or with the sound. And yeah, that's why we recorded it by ourselves, so you don't have any hard schedule you must fulfill. You have all the time you need, and when you are happy with the recordings, when you're happy with the songs, you can give it to a studio for mixing and mastering.
Nice. So I kind of want to talk a little bit. I know you're not the guitar player, but I want to talk a little bit about the guitars because uh, to me, there's almost a consciousness to make the guitars almost sound synth-like at times. So it gives this kind of like epic kind of feel, and it gives a kind of a and this is where that kind of finished doom thing comes to me, where DeLorean and Shape of Despair do very much the same thing. The guitars are very textured. So when you were recording the songs, did you specifically make sure that the guitars had extra textures on them and extra layers? Because again, this album is monumentous in sound. It's not a simple listen. It's you could definitely tell that there's lots of layers on it. So when you were recording this, were you all in the mindset that you wanted to give it more of that atmospheric feeling?
Yeah, I think that's some kind of the way, because we worked a lot or we spent a lot of time into the sound. Or Matthias, our guitar player, spent a lot of time finding his sound or his sounds he wanted to use for clean guitars, for distortion guitars. Yeah, and there's much delay because of the atmosphere, of course. So yeah, and everything is, of course, is uh, works also live, because all the sounds we can bring the atmosphere also on stage, because there is nothing. The sound is not, or rather, like, how should I say it? We can, yeah, the sound is like it is, and we can play it every time live, because it's not modified on the just on the record.
Nice. Okay. No, perfect. Thank you so much. Uh, I love the idea that there's a cassette on this record. Okay. I saw the layout. It's really impressive. It's really detailed. What you guys want to do a limited run cassette? Because today it seems like people love them. So I just kind of like, I used to buy them back in the old days. I'm an old guy. I'm 49
Yeah.
years old. So I used to go and buy cassettes before there were CDs. But what made you do a limited run of tapes or cassettes?
Um, yeah, maybe it's because it's a little hype of cassettes out there, and um, it's quite cheap to in the production. and it's cool. Many people like to have cassettes because I mean everyone, I think you and me, we are great fans or good fans of the good old
Yep.
LP. And to make an LP, it's really, really expensive. And we didn't find any label who wanted to release it on as LP as well. But maybe now we have one, but that's a future task.
Nice.
And so for us, we said, yeah, let's do it some cassettes because we can do it by our own. And uh, there are a lot of people out there who collect cassettes nowadays, and it's we have chosen it instead of the vinyl thing.
Perfect.
We wanted to release something special. Even it's not that special anymore, cassettes nowadays, but it's quite different to a CD or a streaming or a download.
No, I'm going to be with you all the way on this, simply because the record label I'm signed to right now, one of the reasons I signed to them is because they told me they were going to do a cassette release as well too, and I totally dug the idea of them wanting to do that. So no, I think it is something special. It's something different,
Yeah.
and people like yourself and I, we do love that because it's a different kind of packaging. It's just a different way to look at it. It's a way to look back at the older days and yeah. And it brings me back to tape trading and demo trading days. So
Yes,
like
yes,
I
yes.
really do I love I love that very much. So let's talk about the label. So Solitude Productions.
Yeah,
So they're based out of Russia. Now they've
yeah,
been around forever and they have a lot of good artists on them.
yeah.
But what made you want to work with them twice so far? And what's the bond with you and this label?
I think Solitude is for me the label out there for funeral and death doom worldwide. I would say because if you want to listen to funeral doom or death doom or even gothic doom, you have to check the homepage of
Yeah.
Solitude Productions, and you find a lot of really really good stuff. And yeah, when we released Corsa Pentis some years ago, uh, Solitude was our first wish to release it because it had a great reputation for doom, death doom metal, and yeah, and they said, cool, let's do it. And they always want to work with their artists for a long term, so they agreed to release Liquid Darkness as well. And that's great.
Very cool. And what do you think works well with them? I understand that you love the label because of the music that they release, but what makes them a label that you want to continuously work with?
To be honest, it's for us, for a small band, it's always hard to find a label in general to release an album. Many bands release their stuff by themselves without a label, but for me, I think it's still better to have a label on the back because of the promotion of the pressing of the CDs and all stuff we don't have. So uh, for us, it's good to work with them. They have a good reputation. They have a good network within the doom, death doom metal scene, and that's the reason we choose or we have chosen to work with them again. And
Excellent.
even it's from time to time it's quite hard to communicate because they are in Russia, we are in Germany, but it works. So and many bands which we call friends are on Solitude as well. So it's a nice pond of great bands
Nice.
to explore, and yeah.
No, that's perfect. So I'm gonna ask probably one of the tougher questions, and it might be a longer answer, but Why almost 5 years between the last record and this record? I understand you had lineup changes, but you said you pretty much recorded it, already had the songs written as a 5 piece. But like, why 2017 and now 2021, your third record?
For us, it's time doesn't mean anything. I mean, between Doomsday and Cross Appendice, there were 9 years between. But the reason was because we split up in 2012 and reunited in 2015. But yeah, I don't know. We all have full-time day jobs and families, and for us, the band is still a hobby. We do it in our free time because we want to do it. We don't play that much live of
Okay.
yeah, but yes, and you can't write songs one after another. You have to wait for the inspiration,
Sure.
and it takes its time. So sometimes we need 1 year for one song,
Okay. No, fair enough.
but we don't have to hurry because the result is everything which counts. And if it takes 5 years, so it is. If it takes 2 years, cool. But I think the next album will also have a delay of 4 years or something like this.
No, that's fair. Um, so I see from just looking at social media and reading about you, you guys are working or have done a video for one of the tracks or a couple
Yeah.
of the tracks. When are we going to see those? And is it one song? Is it multiple songs? Talk a little bit about that.
We recorded, well, we shot a video for the title track for Liquid Darkness, and it's still in the production, but it should be ready, I hope, in a couple of weeks. For I don't know because the director is also really 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 into other stuff and don't have that time to concentrate only on this project. And yeah, but I think hopefully within August it should be ready. And it's
Awesome.
only we shot only shot one song
Okay.
because shooting a music video for Calliophis, it's for the most of the directors it's like shooting a movie because it's 10 minutes. You have to fulfill
Yeah,
10 minutes with nice pictures without getting boring. So if
absolutely.
you have other, like, let's say a normal band with 3 minute songs, it's much easier, I think.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. So going into that, being Doom Death and being kind of more epic kind of songs, the best kind of songs like this are the ones that actually have time to do metal songs, but most great. How do you feel? Do you feel you can write a really good short? Do you breathe?
I'm really sorry, but the connection was gone. Can you repeat, please?
Oh, oh, sure, sure.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that that you need 10, 15 minutes to be able to build a really good song, or can you write a good Doom song in 5 minutes? I've heard some good songs. The great metal songs are 10, 15 long. Do you think it just needs that time to be able to build and breathe, or do you think you can write a great doom metal song in 5 minutes?
I think it's possible to write good doom metal songs in 5 minutes. But when we write songs, I don't know. It's yeah. In the end, there are 10 minutes, and it's like an automation because we like to yeah. The song has to come up and to progress. We like long intros, but also it's quite hard to keep the song interesting about this long time. But I think it's yeah, of course it's possible to write a good song in 5 minutes. I think there are a lot of bands out there, doom bands, who write 5 minute songs, which is quite short.
Okay. If you were forced to, and somebody was about to listen to Liquid Darkness for the very first time, how would you explain it to someone that's never heard your band before?
That's a point I always want to that explain other people our music. I don't know. It's I think I would say if the listener likes really or atmospheric, slow and atmospheric songs with deep growls and a lot of clean guitars and a lot of yeah heaviness, then this album could be yours. So give it a try. It's not that
Okay.
it's not that raw like other bands, and not that clean or nice like other bands, but I think we are something between the raw and heavy bands and epic death doom stuff.
Perfect. No, that's fine.
It's really hard
No,
to answer this question.
no, that's fine. No, and I appreciate that. So talk a bit about the artwork, because I almost feel like the artwork plays a very major role in the themes and the story of the record.
Yeah, it is.
So how do you do you think about the artwork as you're writing the songs, or once the music you just kind of paint a tapestry of what the record is? Kind of talk to me a little bit about that.
I think when we write the songs, we don't think about the artwork. The artwork comes at the end, when all songs are finished, when all songs are recorded, or when we start recording, then we talk about the artwork, and then we look for artists who want to yeah paint the artwork or the cover art, and yeah I think the most or the guy with the most ideas behind that is our vocalist Thomas, and he knows how, in his mind he already knows how it should be and how it has to look. So when you have the artwork of the actual album, it's done by a friend of us, and there are so many details inside this picture, and all the ideas came from Thomas, and I think it's really awesome. We like it a lot, and yeah, you can have a look maybe 100 times, and you always will find another detail on it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is I've looked at the artwork a dozen, 15 times, and I'm always seeing something new or different in it. And
Yeah.
that was very much where I was gonna go. So cool. Uh, as far as the songwriting goes, is it a band collaboration of writing the songs, or does your vocalist just write the lyrics? Does your guitar player write the music? Do you bring those in, or is it an actual group effort?
No, it's not, because it's like you said, the songs mainly were composed at home by our guitar player, by Matthias, except one song. It's the last one, Fratricide. This is a song I wrote on piano. And yeah, that's our rocking flow. We write the songs at home, or Matthias writes the song, then I add the drums, and Thomas writes the lyrics, and Andreas writes his bass guitar tracks. So everyone puts his lines on it when it's nearly done, and then we try the songs together. Then we change something, but the whole construction of the song is already done when we play it for the first time.
Gotcha. Oh, all right. Awesome. Do you ever want to try and go into maybe a studio and just write as a band, or does it just work very, very well this way?
It really works really well, and when we started the band, and the Doomsday record was all the songs were written together at the
Okay.
rehearsal room. So, but when we changed the lineup in 2015, we started working this way, and yeah, I think it's perfect for us
Awesome.
because
No.
it's always I think it's better when one guy writes the song instead of everyone puts his his ideas.
No, it makes sense. Too many chefs in one
Yeah,
in one food is a bad thing. I
exactly.
totally agree with you wholeheartedly. So as far as being from Germany, there's German dudes. So I would love you to more kind of talk about what inspired you guys to make this kind of music. Like, what bands inspired you?
um, I think when we started the band around 2006, 2007, some years before I started listening to doom metal, and one of the most influential albums for me were the very first Ahab album, Call of the Red Sea. So that's
Mm-hmm.
yes, was at this time it was a massive kind of record, and that's yeah, and then we explored many other bands, and yes, I think the first AF record was responsible to start playing doom metal. But already in the 90s, some death metal bands or had some great doom songs on its album. For me, for instance, the Swedish band Hypocrisy. On I don't know, it's the Fourth Dimension album. They have this song. I forgot it. It's really slow. It's a perfect death doom song, and I think it was around 1994 or something like this. So at this time, I listened to a slow death metal song for the first time and really was impressed because everyone just wanted to play faster and faster,
Mm-hmm.
and they just tuned down the tempo, and it's much yeah it's I don't yeah for me it was really great to hear that. But around in the 2000s, I think Ahab, and then we listened to other stuff like Office and many or some German bands, of course, and then we tried to do doom metal. So the result of this trying is the Doomsday album.
Very cool. Awesome. No, and that's funny that you say it like that because people always like I've been bands for oh god going on 25 years, but people always ask me like what my influences are, and it's funny that you say death metal because what got me into doom metal funny enough, is Bolt Thrower. Okay, like
Yeah,
that's the
of
band
course. Yes,
because
yes.
they are the doomiest death metal band in the
Yeah,
world to me. Like, like yeah. So,
of
and if
course.
you were
Yes, they
like
are.
Bolt Thrower, I'm like, have you ever listened to the Fourth Crusade? Like, have you sat down and
Yeah,
listened to that record? That is the most doomy death metal record you will ever hear in your life. So yeah.
yeah,
So when you say that, it makes me laugh because that's my
yeah,
mindset as well too.
yeah.
Um, but very cool. Um, is there anything that you don't want to bring into the band? Is there a sound, a style that you would say we're going to keep out of it? Would you ever say no? Because on this record, I hear a lot more experimentation
Yeah.
and challenges on this record. Like it's not just straight doom death. There's there's avant-garde elements. There's almost sometimes a rockier kind of feel to it as well too.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
so is there something that you would say, oh, we're never gonna add this into it? So
Mm, I don't want to say something like this because if it's cool for us, we try it. And yeah, for me, I would try to make some experiments with some clean vocals, maybe.
mhm.
But Thomas doesn't want to sing clean, or he can't actually sing clean. But a friend of mine, I don't know. Do you know the band Victims of Creation from
Mhm.
Malta?
Mhm.
These are really good friends of mine, and Rex, the vocalist and bass guitar player, has an awesome clean vocal sound. So maybe I asked him for a feature on the next record. So
So
something
so
like
so
this.
so so we may see a guest vocal coming soon. All right.
Yes,
No, very
but
cool.
but yeah, if it's cool for us, we try maybe nearly everything.
Very
Except
that's great.
maybe except some hip hop influences.
Well, yeah, I
But
didn't mean I didn't mean something like that, but
I really like and enjoy listening to hip hop, but it doesn't fit to this
no,
kind of music.
no, not at all. So I just have a couple more questions. So thanks again for being patient with me and doing this. This is really awesome. Uh, and here's kind of a darker question. I like to ask a lot of bands just to see what your thought process is. Let's say Liquid Darkness is it. Okay, the band
Yeah.
is done. This is the last record we're ever going to get from you. What would you like the fans of the doom world of extreme metal to take out of this record? Is there one thing that you feel is special that's going to keep a legacy of the band around?
That's another question I don't can answer because we can't write our own legacy. You know, it's the fans or the people who listen to the songs have to make a legacy of it. And I don't know if it's the last album, then I guess it's a good record to finish. but uh, but I think we have a much more
Good,
to deliver.
good, because I don't want it to end. I think you guys keep getting better and better, so that's cool. Uh, so on that, are there any reviews or any feedback that you've gotten that's kind of blown you away off this record? And the reason why I ask that is I don't see a lot of press, and that's
Yes,
kind
yes,
of
yes.
like when I do see press, it's very mixed. It's either people love you or don't understand you. I've never seen like I've never seen a truly negative review. It's just like we don't get what's going on here, or they absolutely love what you do. Like that's the kind of reviews I've seen. Is there anything out there that you've gotten recently that just completely blew you away and you just never expected that you would hear something like?
You mean in general or especially for Liquid Darkness?
No, for the band in general. Just
Okay.
any kind of review or any kind of feedback that just was like, it could be something from of the record 5 years ago. Who cares? But like, like damn, like I never thought of it this way, but that's really cool, or that's really interesting.
Yeah, some reviews have the same intention, like you said. When people write or say to us, we listen or we sound like Swallow the Sun or like Shape of Despair, or we sound like Ahab or like other really big
Mhm.
names. So that's really great to hear, and it's an honor for us to play in this league. Maybe. Um, yeah, it's right. We don't get that many reviews. Even for Liquid Darkness, we only have maybe one or two at the time. I hope there's much more coming. And yes, but I can't remember a specific one.
Not a problem.
So some people really write a lot of words to describe the the music. Others only need 3 lines, and yeah, it's up to everyone by himself. So for us, it's cool to get mentioned, maybe with some other names, maybe some much more popular band names. All the people know, and when they read the reviews and see, oh yeah, they sound like Shape of Despair, I should give it a try. So for us, that's cool for us.
Well, you do, your humbleness is nice, but I'm telling you, this record has a lot of those elements, especially "Swallow the Sun" and "Shape of Despair" and "DeLorean." I'm telling you, man, if people like the band DeLorean, they really need to listen to your record because the second and third DeLorean record are some of my favorite records that were ever written as far as a doom metal style, and your guitar sounds and your vocal styles very much remind me or are very reminiscent of DeLorean. So take it with the utmost respect because like that is a band that I put on a pillar. That is a band I put on a pillar, man. And this project right now is one of my favorite Doom things right now. If I pull a Doom record out, it's been your record for the last couple weeks. I'm just being honest. Like it's like I really do. I think you've got something really special here. It gives me and this is just me giving you lip service. I know, but it gives me that very late 90s, early 2000 peaceful kind of avant garde. I don't know. He just froze. So did you lose me?
No,
Uh,
from time to time it's disrupted a bit, but now it's okay.
but yeah, so like I said, man, you remind me of that peaceful avant-garde stuff from the late 90s, early 2000, and that's the biggest praise I can give you because that's my favorite time of Doom. So continue doing what you're doing, man. Like I can't wait to hear the new future stuff. The other thing I was gonna say is, do you want to play live with this record, or is it just
Yes.
something as a band that you guys don't like to play live?
No. We only sorry. We already played I think 2 or 3 songs in the past already. So when we write a song, we normally put it to our live set. Only yeah, to see how it works live. And of course, we will play the songs live in the near future. So if COVID doesn't make everything going down, we will play in September in Belgium and some shows in the end of the year in Germany
Nice.
with Office and Warsaw. Yeah, of course. We love to play live. So I mean, it's our the music. The band is our passion. So it's not only recording stuff. It's much more playing the stuff.
Very cool.
So yeah, we
Awesome.
will play the songs definitely live.
Cool. Cool. Well, that's great to know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the last couple of minutes of this interview and kind of talk about whatever you like. Talk about what's coming up. if there's anything new, special. I did hear you talk about a vinyl release maybe coming. That kind of made me smile a little bit. Talk about whatever you want. The door's open right now. Yeah, talk about the band and what the future is going to bring.
Huh. Yeah, for the vinyl release, we can say there's a small label out there which is interested to release it on vinyl, but there's only a chat yet, so we have to see how it works. Yeah, and that's the near future. It's also really hard to look into the future because of the pandemic situation. So we hope to play live this year, and we already we have a booking agency since a couple of months, and also already discussed possibilities to play the States, maybe in 2 or 3 years. So that's what I think. This is a dream for us to play in the US somewhere in the future. But it's also really hard for European bands to play there if you're not a big name because of the restrictions to play there. Yeah, and then we'll see how it or where we are going to be in the future.
Not a problem. Yeah, like I said, if you ever come to the US, I definitely will see you. You let me know for sure. Like I would love to be able to come see you live. I will put links to your Bandcamp, to your Facebook pages as always for people to be able to hit you up and talk to you as well. Florian, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. I'm really glad I got to do this. I love this band. I really hope you guys continue on, and just best wishes coming from over in the US for one of the most impressive Death Doom records I've heard in 2021. So thank you again so very much.
Thank you. It's really great to have a chat with you and the opportunity for the interview. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man.
Absolutely, man. You have a great day and a good weekend. Thank you again.
You too. Hope to see you again. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.